Note also that when I quoted the Freedom Singh, I was very, very careful to cite the source of my quotation. The Workers' Party says that Hougang is very special and that voters should vote in the WP candidate. Last night at the rally, Mr. Loh Teck Yang said that I was trying to sell Desmond Chu, but residents won't buy him. I introduced Desmond to you 1.5 years ago, 15 months ago. Many of you have met him and know what he has done and what he can do. There's no need for me to sell him. His actions speak for themselves. Anyway, I'm not that good at talking or selling. Mr. Loh is much better than me at talking and selling. Remember what he told you last year. Voters of Hougang were very honorable. Last year, they listened to Mr. Loh. He gave him the full support for his successor, giving his successor even more votes than they ever gave to Mr. Loh. The voters of Hougang thought that Mr. Loh made a personal sacrifice and his party deserved to be supported. They were concerned that if they didn't vote Workers' Party, there might be no opposition voices in Parliament. But the situation has now completely changed. You know what happened after that. We all know. Look at what actually happened. The WP says that they made a brave move to sack Mr. Yao. Look what actually happened. The WP remained totally silent. For a long time, the public was asking questions. For a few weeks, it seemed to be that the only thing they were able to say was, no comment. This went on for several weeks. When Mr. Yao resigned from the WPCC, the WP party chairman, Ms. Lim, said that the WP would continue to support Mr. Yao's work as an MP. That's what the chairman of the WP said when he resigned from the Central Executive Committee. And here in Hougang, at the Chinese New Year dinner last year, the whole WP leadership turned up to give their support to Mr. Yao and to show that everything's alright. The photos showed them toasting and shouting something together. I don't know what they were shouting together when they were toasting. Maybe you can guess. What do you think they were shouting? Yang Seng? I think maybe they were shouting, Huana! Together with Mr. Yao. So next time when they shout, Huana! Just remember who was in that photo during Chinese New Year here in Hougang together. So 下一次喊大声喊欢啊！你们要记得，新年晚宴，工人党的晚宴，他们一起跟老鼠龙一起喊欢啊，大声。说下一次他们喊欢啊，你要记得，新年晚宴他们是跟谁一起喊？ But just 4 days after shouting "Pada," as public pressure mounted, and they were unable to keep quiet anymore, then they sacked him. It's not whether they're bad apples in a political party or they're bound to be, but it's how you deal with it. Whether you deal with it decisively, openly, transparently, or whether you keep quiet until you have no choice to admit it, and then reluctantly you sack it. This year, Mr. Loh Teck Yang comes to you again. He praises the voters of Hougang for your courage and for your support, telling you that Hougang is special to the Workers' Party. And now he puts another candidate before you and calls on you to continue to give him the same support, as if nothing has happened. Is it possible that he's just playing your emotions and trying to take your support for granted? Is that possible that he's taking your support for granted? Hougang residents should consider carefully and not just accept any candidate that the WP is sending to them. You have scrutinized Desmond Chu very carefully. Scrutinize the candidates that they send to you very carefully as well. Mr. Peng, on nomination day, I watched him. He spoke in 3 languages. Very good. English, Chinese, Teochew. But what is his message? His only message was, send me to Parliament. English, send me to Parliament. Chinese, send me to Parliament. Teochew, send me to Parliament. But think very carefully. The WP itself decided not to send Peng to Parliament. They didn't send him to Parliament when they could have done so. Let me explain. when the WP had to choose one member from their East Coast team sent to Parliament as an NCMP, it didn't choose Peng Eng Huat. If he was their best man, why didn't you choose him? They decided not to send Peng Eng Huat to Parliament, and then they're asking for the voters of Hougang to vote him in Parliament to send him to Parliament. I think voters have a right to ask why the WP did not send Mr. Peng to Parliament, and now want the voters of Hougang to send him. So is Hougang so special? The WP is sending you a candidate. They have themselves decided not to send to Parliament when they have a chance to do so. It's impossible that the pulling on the emotions of the voters here are really making you for granted.